Hey everybody, it's me here, and let's clear the air today. Let's bust some myths about weight loss. There are so many things out there that we've been told by well-meaning people, by friends, family members, social media influencers, trainers, coaches, nutritionists, that just aren't true. And if you're following these ideas, they could be sabotaging your ability to lose weight effectively and to keep it off. So today, I'm gonna share with you 5 of the biggest weight loss myths out there that you need to stop believing right now. And while you're here, please do me a quick favor and tap that like button. It really does help my channel and helps me to continue to make great content for you guys. Also, I have a free newsletter that you can join at the website below. You will get 1 free email from me each week with helpful tips and ideas to improve your health and your fitness. Okay, let's dive into those myths. The first myth is this: weight loss is 80% diet and 20% exercise. This comes from the idea that in order to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you take in. And if you think about this, it makes sense, right? If you eat 2,000 calories per day and you only burn 1,500 calories per day, then theoretically, you should lose weight because you're burning more than you're taking in. But it's not quite that simple. First of all, our bodies don't actually burn calories in exactly the way that a machine might burn fuel. We burn calories throughout the day for every little thing that we do, whether it's digesting our food or growing hair or blinking. So we're constantly burning calories throughout the day. But also, this equation ignores hormones. It ignores the fact that maybe your thyroid isn't functioning properly, or maybe your cortisol levels are too high or your testosterone levels are too low. All of these things affect how much fat you going to store and how much fat you going to burn. The bottom line is this: yes, your diet is important, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But exercise is also a very powerful tool when it comes to losing weight. Exercise increases your resting metabolic rate. It improves insulin sensitivity, which allows you to burn fat more easily. It also reduces stress, which, as I said before, can elevate those cortisol levels, which can make you gain weight. So if you're stuck trying to lose weight, trying to get the weight off, you may want to consider working with a coach. Working with a trainer to develop a plan to increase your activity level, increase your exercise, because exercise is a powerful tool for weight loss. The second myth is this: spot training works. Spot training is when you focus on doing exercises to target a specific area of the body in hopes of reducing the amount of fat that's stored in that area. So maybe you redoing crunches because you want to get rid of that belly fat, or maybe you redoing arm exercises because you want to get rid of those love handles. The problem with spot training is that, first of all, we don't actually have much control over where our bodies store fat. Our bodies will store fat based on genetics. Can't choose where the fat's going to come off from. And secondly, when we do exercise, our bodies use energy from many different sources. When you're doing cardio, for example, you're burning energy from carbohydrates, from fat, and from protein. And the ratio of how much you re-burning from each of these sources depends on how intense your workout is, how long you've been working out, and many other factors. Now, there are times when you can target specific muscles, like when you're doing resistance training. For example, when you're lifting weights. You can target specific muscles. But that doesn't mean that you're only burning fat in those areas. When you're doing resistance training, your whole body is burning fat. No. 3. You need to cut carbs in order to lose weight. Carbs are the devil. Carbs are the enemy. Carbs are the macronutrient that most people overeat. But carbs are not bad. Carbs are fuel. They're the primary fuel source for our brains. And when we restrict carbs too much, we put our bodies into a starvation mode. So we start to feel hungry, and then we end up binging later on, or we start to feel fatigued, and we end up giving up on our diet. Now, I am not saying that eating lots of carbohydrates is healthy. And in fact, when people overeat any macronutrient, they can gain weight. But cutting carbs completely is not the answer. Instead, focus on eating high-fiber, nutrient-dense carbs like fruits, vegetables, whole grains. These types of carbs will keep you feeling full and satisfied and energized. And they will support your overall health while you're trying to lose weight. Next myth is this: breakfast is the most important meal of the day. While breakfast literally means breaking your fast, meaning that it is the meal that you eat after you sleep, after you haven't eaten anything for several hours. But breakfast is not necessarily the best time to start eating. In fact, for some people, Eating too early in the morning can lead to excess snacking and overeating later in the day. Some people simply don't get hungry until lunch. So if you're somebody whose hunger doesn't kick in until noon, don't force yourself to eat breakfast. You're probably better off waiting until you're hungry and eating lunch. If you're somebody who gets hungry first thing in the morning, then maybe you do need breakfast. But regardless of when you eat breakfast, it shouldn't be the most important meal of the day. Every meal that you eat is important. You want to treat every meal as an opportunity to nourish your body with healthy foods that will support your weight loss goals. So instead of thinking about breakfast as the most important meal of the day, think of every meal as an opportunity to fuel your body for success. The last myth that I'm going to talk about today is this: fat-free or low-fat foods are better for weight loss. When these kinds of products were introduced several decades ago, they were revolutionary. Finally, we had foods that had less fat than regular versions of those same foods, so we could enjoy the taste that we liked without consuming as much fat. But what we didn't know at the time was that when you remove fat from foods, those foods tend to be less satisfying and more likely to cause overeating. And that's because the texture, the flavor, and the aroma of a food are often diminished. When the fat is removed, and also fat is a super satisfying macronutrient, fat slows down the rate that we eat. It slows down the rate that we digest. It keeps us feeling full and satisfied. So when we consume low-fat foods, we tend to eat more of them. And we do get the feeling of fullness that we need in order to stay on track with our diets. So next time you go to the grocery store, read the labels. Look at the ingredients. Avoid foods that have been stripped of their fat, because the companies have replaced that fat with something else. It's often that something else is sugar. So there you have it, folks. Those are 5 of the biggest weight loss myths that are out there. I hope that you will stop believing these myths, stop practicing these behaviors, because they are sabotaging your weight loss efforts. Remember, weight loss is a journey that requires patience and consistency. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Keep believing in yourself. Keep working hard, and you will eventually reach your goals. As always, remember that you're awesome. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.